I don't think arms control and deterrence are mutually exclusive, but I don't see much of a role for arms control in superseding states' concerns about national interest, security, and deterrence. I think a lot of times when we've seen arms control successes, they've occurred because the states in question aren't concerned about their deterrent capabilities, even under a new arms control regime. So we have plenty of evidence that arms control and deterrence can both coexist at the same time. But I think there's a danger in exaggerating the importance of arms control in creating deterrence at the same time as undermining deterrence. I just don't think it matters that much. In contemporary international politics, I think there's really bad news for arms control, particularly arms control that seeks to reduce the numbers of nuclear weapons. The United States and Russia have already reduced the size of their arsenals by 85% or so since Cold War levels. The arsenals that we see with India and Pakistan and North Korea and Israel, these are much smaller arsenals than we saw in the Cold War. And the danger is that you combine the technological advances that are making arsenals more vulnerable with reduced numbers, and that again is a very nervous world. Very few states are going to be willing to go even lower. Why? Because lower numbers of nuclear weapons mean fewer targets that an adversary will have to hit in truly dark times if one state decides to launch a nuclear attack. So I think in terms of reductions in numbers, we're basically at a dead end when it comes to nuclear arms control. And unfortunately, when it comes to qualitative nuclear arms control, things are almost as hopeless, let's be frank. Very difficult to come up with an arms control regime that can regulate technology, particularly the kinds of technologies that are part of a functioning society, a competitive society in the world of globalization. What are you going to do? Have an arms control that looks at accuracy of weapon systems, or that controls satellites about remote sensing in a world in which countries want these satellites for weather data, for all sorts of things. So the idea that you can just isolate militarily dangerous capabilities in this day and age, I think is misplaced.